action and its solutions. And today,
That's not my audio. They've been having audio problems since we got going here. So C-SPAN is having difficulty with Kelly Macaroni. Okay, they've just shut down the audio. They keep getting an echo. So C-SPAN is fixing that. I'll try and lip read for you here.
as President Trump said yesterday, all children deserve equal opportunity because we are all made equal by God. That is so true. First, let me point out that I have sat across from a police officer family that lost their loved one. I saw a little girl named Charlie who will forever grow up without a father, who will forever grow up without a father for prom, for the father-daughter dance. And it was heartbreaking to know that she lost her father, who was a valiant hero. But yesterday, I sat across from
not
families
my audio.
who lost their loved ones in mass instances of injustice. And it
That's
was
all on
heartbreaking.
C-SPAN.
It was a real
And they're giving up again, trying to correct it.
moment, and it's one that the president
had it.
I asked him in
They
the
had it
Oval
for a
Office
moment.
about afterwards. He said this: "I love those families. I want to help those families." And President Trump means that, because this is about humanity. That is ultimately what this is about. And Senator Scott shared a very beautiful Bible verse with those families yesterday, and I just want to read it here to close. Romans 8:28.
There we go.
And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. He shared that Bible verse with those families, and it was particularly meaningful to me, and I think to the families as well. And with that, I'll take questions. Yes.
First of all, you did a great job dealing with that feedback. I know that's not
Mixed minus,
great.
right?
Mixed minus, it's the worst.
Yes, thank you.
All right, so the Trump administration, the Trump Justice Department, has appointed 6 U.S. attorneys to examine the actions of the president's political adversaries, but they've only opened one federal investigation into systemic bias in policing. My question to you is, why are so many resources being allocated to make sure the president and his allies were treated fairly by law enforcement and not the same for millions of Black Americans?
So I think you're comparing two things that
Yes, she
it's
is.
not accurate to compare on the level of the number of attorneys looking.
The question was, Trump's appointed a number of investigations into law enforcement attacks on his allies. Where are they for the Black Americans?
It was an injustice to the American people who elected President Trump as President of the United States.
Okay, so this is C-SPAN's having serious issues today. What are you going to do? Hi, how is everybody? Hi, Chris. Hi, Doctor. Good to see you. I don't know. I'm not sure, because they had it and then it went away and then they had it and then they got the echo back. I am unsure, but I've directed live shows before. It happens. And theoretically, well, because it's live, you can't just stop it down. I mean, C-SPAN can't just walk in there and say, Kellyanne, stop talking. God, I wish they could do, but they can't. That's just not how it works. I'll do Kellyanne's voice for you here. No, I'm sorry, that's Jared's voice. Really the same impression. It's like Grover and Yoda. It's just... All right, so there's Kellyanne Conway. Not Kellyanne. Thank you, random. The Kelly McInerney. Yeah. Really, is there a difference? This is just Kellyanne 2.0. So, fact check. Okay, so what she's doing here is answering the reporter's question by completely deflecting.
To artificially shut down the economy. You can fix the individual pieces.
Just keep it with the echo.
Yes.
Yes.
The president talked about chokeholds yesterday. The bill that's been
President talked about chokeholds.
Republican Senator Scott, Republican, does not ban chokeholds. Does he think it
Jonathan
should?
Carl.
The president is fully in support of the Scott bill. They are working closely on that, and our EO puts an end to that, or incentivizes through the accreditation process to put an end to chokeholds unless there is lethal force used. We fully support the
So
Scott
no
bill
end to
and every
chokeholds.
element of it. And one thing I would note about the
You
Scott
can't
bill is
use
for years
chokeholds
we've tried to make
unless you
lynching a
think you
federal crime
should.
in this country, and the Scott bill does it. It's a great bill. It's more great action from Republicans, and we hope we can have bipartisan support on that.
But to be clear, the executive order does not ban chokeholds, and we can't actually do that on
Jonathan Karl spitting facts, but into his own mask. So that's the important part. He's not spreading
Chokeholds
facts.
simply should be banned.
So what I have from the Justice Act here is that this will also end the practice of utilizing chokeholds, and I would underscore the
No,
executive
it
order
doesn't.
does that through an incentivizing process. So we've done what we can, and we'll continue to do more, and we'll continue to work with the Scott bill, and there might be amendments to it, there might not, but we want to see this come to fruition. Yes.
So as long as you guys don't use chokeholds for a year, cop picnic.
Yes, well, that is, we're incentivizing to ban chokeholds unless in the case of where lethal force is used. That's the process that we're using, and I'll tell you this, it's a much better process than the Democrats, who so far have
Yeah,
offered
that's the
zero,
C-SPAN feed,
nothing,
Chris.
except a lot of bad ideas about this that would ultimately, I would note, defund the police department. Yes.
In the last day, 96 people in Tulsa have
We're threatening to withhold funds, but the Democrats want to defund the police department.
White House take responsibility if people get sick and catch the coronavirus at this rally on Saturday.
So the campaign has taken certain measures to make sure this is a safe rally, temperature checks, hand sanitizers, and masks, so we are taking precautions.
You're not requiring people to wear masks.
They will be given a mask. It's up to them whether to make that decision. CDC guidelines are recommended but not required.
And the CDC guidelines suggest that people practice social distancing. You're not going to be able to practice social distancing in a rally with thousands of people. So aren't you, in essence, bringing people to a rally where they won't be abiding by those guidelines?
It's the personal choice of individuals as to what to do, but if we want to talk about internal coherence, I believe that the media needs to work on internal coherence. This wonderful New York Post story, I don't think Stephen Nelson's here, but good job to the New York Post, highlights the hypocrisy of the media where this is okay, protesting, this is not okay, Trump rallies. It's really remarkable, and I think the American people have taken notice when, for instance, NBC tweets at 4:05 p.m. On June 14th, rally for Black trans lives draws packed crowd to Brooklyn Museum Plaza, seeming to be
Fact.
lauding the protest. And
They're
then
not
less than
lauding
an
it,
hour
they
and a half
that's a
later, they
fact.
say President
That's a
Trump
statement.
plans to rally, but health experts are questioning that decision. CBS had a similar, logically inconsistent tweet.
Also, fact. Just stating facts.
Injustice against racism and police brutality. This is a rally, political rally. They're not going to be demonstrating for any kind of cause other than supporting the president. And I go back to my original question. Will the White House, will the president take responsibility if there are people who catch the coronavirus and get sick? As
Jim-
you know, you've been to these
Is
rallies.
the president
So
going
have
to
you,
take
by the way.
responsibility if people get sick?
Yes.
Are elderly.
Yes. What?
Probably have pre-existing conditions that might put them at risk for serious complications if they catch this virus.
So first, let me know, you've been
Oh, gone. No, we had it. Why are you? That was okay. Go back. Just do the echo. Come on, C-SPAN.
of our country and paychecks going up. We rally that HBCU funding for historically black colleges and universities is permanent because of President Trump. We rally, but to say no because Jim, you
She's
suggested
defending the rally by talking
you
about the
suggested that we
historically
don't rally on
black
behalf of
colleges and
anything. So let
universities.
me note one more thing. We rally on behalf of criminal justice reform and the First Step Act, which President Obama and Vice President Biden talked about, but we did. And I would note this, if we want to talk about the efficacy of what we're doing, 1,300 health experts signed a letter about the protest saying, we do not condemn these gatherings, we support them as vital. So you have the health experts on one side saying this, and then all of a sudden a Trump rally is different. And I've taken 5 of your questions. Work on your internal cohesion and get back to me.
Jim does not work for the New York Post.
And last, I said to
For the
you,
record, I'm against the protesting if they're not
I said
going
you were
to
taking
pay
precautions.
attention to social
Masks,
distancing and
hand
masks, and
sanitizer, Z.
also against the Trump rallies. You can be against both. It's fine.
Sign a waiver to waive them of liability, acknowledging that there's an assumed risk with going to that rally. Does not the president have some responsibility himself to ensure, to set an example of
Okay, he's apparently in a 1970s Lost in Space cartoon, so I'm not... Wait, hold on, I'll read his lips. goddamn masks.
We are doing temperature checks, hand sanitizers, masks. When you come to the rally, as if any event, you assume a
They're gonna
personal
temperature
risk.
check
That is
40,000
just what
people.
you do. When you go to a baseball game, you assume a risk. That's part of life.
We're
It's
not
a
going to
personal
baseball
decision
games
of
right now,
Americans as to
Kaylee.
whether to go to the rally or whether not to go to the rally. But I would note that this concern for the rallies has been largely absent when it came to the protesters. People really note when CBS says thousands participate in a rally and a silent march for Black trans lives, and then
That's
less than
what
just
happened.
more than an hour and a half later, President
That's-
Trump moving ahead with the rally, serious risk of spreading coronavirus. It's really inconsistent. The media seems to not be interested in health so much as ideology behind certain events. So, for instance, you go and the lockdown protesters were widely condemned by
No,
the
they're gonna
media,
have a convention
protesting
center
the
next door as
lockdown.
well,
Then
another
all of a sudden, this
40,000, so about
protest for Black Lives
60,000.
Matter is lauded. It makes no sense. Ideology is driving the line of questioning in many of these cases, when it should be, if you're focused on science, you
So,
should be out there asking the same
indoors,
questions about the
people might get
protests.
sick. It's the media. That's what we should be talking about. A completely unnecessary rally. No reason for it. Okay, Rod Serling is asking a second question.
They didn't get the virus there, and who should they inform if they do come down with the virus after that?
It's their personal decision as to whether they want to get tested after, but I'd note testing capability is thanks to President Trump. 23.7 million people tested in this country so far. That's an extraordinary number. So testing's out there and available if someone chooses to
I'm
do
in
that.
Washington.
Jen?
I still can't get tested without symptoms unless I'm a protester.
Indian and Chinese troops and president getting on the phone and talking to those to relevant countries.
So the president is aware of it. We're monitoring the situation between Indian and Chinese forces along the line of actual control in eastern Ladakh. So we've seen that the Indian Army statement that 20 Indian soldiers died as a result of the confrontation today, and
Such a
we extend
good
our
reader.
deepest condolences on that. Jen. The coronavirus task force, they're meeting today. I would first point that out. They meet regularly and they monitor the whole country. So they don't zone in on a Trump rally, they zone in on the whole country and analyze it through a database lens.
Well, maybe they should.
They look at the entirety of the country. That would include the state of Oklahoma, but they look at all 50 states in close consultation.
Well, if they're looking at
with
Oklahoma, they should
governors.
probably recommend canceling the rally.
It's something that's being looked at, of course, of phase 4. No announcements on what those elements would be, and wouldn't want to get out ahead of the president. But I would note that this economy is robust and growing and coming back stronger than anyone could think from this because of the president. I mean, you look at retail sales surging 17.7%, unemployment insurance weekly claims falling. We have the fastest growth rate in American history in the third quarter, so we artificially shut down the economy, but we have a robust recovery happening and taking place, and that's thanks to President Trump. And there are a lot of good metrics.
Thanks to President
like
Trump.
New business applications skyrocketing, small businesses now opening at about 80%, Apple Mobility Index, that's practically pre-pandemic levels. So there's more work to be done. Phase 4 will address that should it take place. But we are encouraged by what we're seeing, that the Donald Trump economy is coming back because ultimately investors.
The
and
Donald
business
Trump
owners
economy
have
is
faith in
also
this
right
president.
now.
Yes. Jeff.
Thank you. You mentioned testing just now. The president has also both been tweeting and saying publicly on Monday that if the country just stops testing, that there would be no, or virtually no cases left. That doesn't make
So the
sense.
president said if we stop testing, there's going to be no more
Yeah, it's
cases.
entirely logical. When you do more testing, you identify more cases. Countries that don't do as much testing don't
Not identify. He said
the
there
same
would be
number of
no
cases. I mean,
cases.
it's pretty logical. Exactly what he said.
Okay, so it's about identifying them, because he seemed to suggest that if we weren't testing, then those cases wouldn't exist. Is that
No, that
a misunderstanding?
that was not at all what he was saying. He was saying when you test, you end up identifying more cases, and we've tested 23.7 million people, positivity rate of 5.9%. So we are in a good place when it comes to testing.
And just along
Yes.
those same lines, the vice president today wrote an op-ed, I believe, in the Wall Street Journal, claiming down down the
If we
contract.
stop testing right now, we'd have very few cases, if any. That's what Trump said.
That there's not going to be a second wave of the coronavirus.
The White House is confident that we have enough
I-
testing to identify asymptomatic individuals, that we have therapeutics that are promising, that we are working on a vaccine with Project Warp Speed that we hope will be there by the end of the year and we think will be, and we have a robust public-private partnership that has shored up America's supply chain. So we are in a good place, and that's what the Vice President was noting. John.
Thanks a lot, Kaylee.
We're in a good place.
Subjects. The first question has to do with the lawsuit that was filed against John Bolton, the former national security
Lawsuit against John Bolton.
by the Department of Justice yesterday. The DOJ did not file a lawsuit against Simon & Schuster, nor did it file an injunction against the publisher. Why not? Do you still expect
No
this
injunction
book
was filed against the
to-
publisher.
to
Why not?
bookstores, to be on Amazon,
Hey,
to be
human.
available for people to read on the 23rd of this month?
So that, as to why they went down that particular path, that's a question for DOJ. But what I would note is this book is full of classified information, which is inexcusable.
It's already gone through
Former
review.
National Security Advisor John Bolton should know all too well that it's unacceptable to have highly classified information from the government of the United States.
Then why was he
in a
hired
book
as a
that will be
national
published.
security
It's
advisor?
Unacceptable. It has not gone through the review process, and that's where we currently stand. And I'd refer you back to Barr's comment on this, which is we don't believe that Bolton went through that process. It hasn't been completed, the process, and therefore he is in violation.
Because they've been
of that
dragging out the
agreement. That was
process
part of
for
his quote
months.
From Monday.
Then on the other subject, the executive order the president signed yesterday, during that event, in his comments, he acknowledged that there are indeed bad police
Hey, Denise.
officers. Is the president opposed to the idea of removing qualified immunity for police officers, even bad police officers?
Yeah, so qualified immunity, let me note, is a total and complete non-starter. What qualified immunity would do is it would really enable the police in this country to do their job. That's in the Democrat bill, and I'd argue this, Democrats,
No.
they
Qualified
say defund
immunity
the police,
happens
defund
now.
the police. We hear that from Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez and Congresswoman Omar and others. Well, what does the Democrat bill do? By removing qualified immunity, what you're essentially doing is not allowing police to do their job. There
No,
would be
you're holding them
a
responsible
decrease
when
in
they kill
policing
people.
in this country. Our streets would not be safe. What President Trump has done is worked with law enforcement to improve law enforcement, to ensure that the bad cops that exist are pushed out of the system.
No,
the
that's not
overwhelming
what he did
majority of cops
yesterday.
are good, so we've got to address the handful that are bad, and that's what the president's order has done. But taking away qualified immunity would make the streets of this country a whole lot less secure. Just look at what happened when we didn't have ample law enforcement out on Lafayette Square. A church burned and multiple officers injured.
And so we tear
handle a
gassed the American
situation,
public
Haley,
who were
of
peacefully
a bad
protesting.
police officer hiding behind the shield of qualified immunity?
Look, I would note that also the court has litigated this pretty strongly. It's been adjudicated. The Harlow court, in that decision, Harlow, the Supreme Court, talked about achieving a balance between allowing victims to hold officials accountable while also minimizing the social cost to the whole, the cost of police officers, for example, pulling back. So the Supreme Court has litigated this for decades and has approached what they think is the appropriate balance
Yeah, we
of
see you,
qualified
Doctor.
immunity. And I think it would go a long way just doing what the president did yesterday, having that national database of offenders, so we ensure that a police officer doesn't leave one department
I
and
looked
then
into
go
it.
to
His
another.
national database
Francesca.
probably won't have
Haley,
the
you
police officers'
outlined the
information
White House's position on
available to the
qualified
public.
immunity, defunding the police, but you also said earlier that the Democratic bill is
Public.
full of bad ideas. What are the other quote-unquote bad ideas besides those two that the president would not sign a policing bill if they wound up in the final version?
So one of the things the bill does is it undermines due process. The Democrat bill would undermine the due
Democratic.
process rights of every officer by making pending and unsubstantial allegations available to the public, causing reputational
but what about the
damage
confirmed
based
ones?
on allegations alone. That's a really good example because
what about the
what our
confirmed
database
ones?
does is once a claim has been adjudicated, we know something was done wrong, It goes into a database that remains private. It protects privacy of the officers, but it is utilized to ensure that officer does not get to go to another department. What the Democrat bill would do is someone submits an allegation, well, we're going to violate the due process rights of this officer and put it into a system. We have to balance everything in this situation. Making sure our good, hardworking, overwhelmingly good police officers are able to do their job, but ensuring that we do not have victims like the victims I heard about yesterday and the excruciating, painful, devastating stories
victims.
of their sisters, of their mothers, and of their fathers.
So, sorry.
But definitionally, they're victims.
So you're saying those are the three? That's it?
There's a number of things, but those are the ones that I've listed out.
But I don't
so
have them
far.
listed in
There's a
my
number of
binder right
policies
now.
on the bill.
The president's rallies. He has also said that he has rallies on
That's
the
exactly
North
right, Lisa.
Carolina and also Florida, two states that have seen recent spikes in coronavirus. Who told the president that it would be safe to have rallies in states that are seeing spikes right now?
We are confident that there are embers out there that exist that will be able to put out those embers.
How?
Florida has a great governor. He's done a great job so far. We work closely with Governor
Record numbers in
DeSantis,
Florida
and,
again today.
We believe that we will be at a safe
But who
place.
said it was
Yes.
Keely, Justice Gorsuch's decision from the Supreme Court this week against anti-LGBT discrimination was focused on employment civil rights law, but also implications on housing, healthcare.
I can't understand what this guy's saying, but my question is, why can't we just have middle ground? What happened to that?
So what the president says is he's read the decision, they've ruled, we live with the decision, and
Well,
we
I know
live with
why.
the decision of
It's
the
a
Supreme
two-party
Court. So
state.
that's where he stands currently. And in terms of
Oh,
how
this
it's
is about the Supreme Court
implemented,
ruling.
DOJ will lead the multi-agency effort to help provide certainty to the regulated parties.
I understand DOJ's rule, but the president also has the opportunity to express his opinion and to leave, much like President Obama in 2013, said he hoped the marriage decision from the Supreme Court would be implemented as extensively as possible. What is President Trump's view on the appropriate scope of Gorsuch's decision?
So DOJ will be guiding that entirely, so I will leave that to DOJ.
Thank you, Carol. I look forward to seeing you here.
Have any conversations with DOJ about the implication of the Gorsuch decision?
Not that I'm aware of. He might have had one I don't know about, but not that I'm aware of.
Maybe one more question. Does the president think that the Gorsuch would be confident to win for civil rights?
There we go. I knew that was going to happen. Somebody donate a mask to this guy.
So one thing I would say, I haven't not talked to the president about that personally, but one thing I wanted to read was from the Kavanaugh dissent. There were some real concerns that this was a complete distortion of how we do statutory interpretation, and Kavanaugh lays that out very nicely. But one thing Justice Kavanaugh did
In the
say,
minority.
and I thought it was a very powerful quote, is
Quote,
notwithstanding
Kavanaugh.
my concern
I
about
like
the
beer.
court's transgression
I
of the
still like
Constitution's
beer.
separation of powers, which was a grave concern, is the separation of powers point that the DOJ argued in court.
Again,
it is
the
appropriate to
Department of
acknowledge
Justice
the
was
important
arguing
victory
against
achieved
protecting
today, by
trans
gay and
rights.
lesbian Americans.
So,
I thought that was a very good
If
quote,
you're trans, you
from
could get
Justice
fired.
Kavanaugh.
That's what the DOJ was arguing.
Alexandra.
That an employer should be able to fire you based upon what you do in your bedroom. Mostly, I just weep and cry myself to sleep on my pillow, but I don't know if that's a protected class right now.
American true presence in Germany, and he said we're bringing that number down from 52,000, about what it's at now, to 25,000. And the rationale for that, he articulated, was that Germany is very delinquent in their payments to NATO. They're paying
Germany
1%,
doesn't
they're
owe money
supposed
to
be at
NATO. That's not how it
2%,
works.
and even 2% is low. It should be much more than that. Michael. I wouldn't get ahead of the president on making that decision. Michael.
Hi, thanks, Amy. I have one question, and then I have two quick questions from colleagues who sent to me as the full person. So, on my question, back when two White House officials were tested positive for COVID, we all reported on an email that went out to West Wing employees instructing them that masks were mandatory to be worn in the West Wing at all times, with the exception of being when they were sitting at their desks.
So masks were made mandatory in the West Wing.
Obviously, none of the White House people that I've seen today have been wearing masks at all. Has that been rescinded? Has that
And now nobody's wearing masks. After the COVID test, masks were mandatory. Now nobody's wearing masks. Has that been rescinded, that email?
So masks are recommended but not required, excuse me, as I said. Could I want to get to everyone in the room.
Well, these
So
are for people who can't be in the room because of the restrictions.
I understand, but I want to make sure I get to everyone in the room and then we can come back. So, Rob.
Can I just get a clarification on your equivalence between protests in the streets and the rally on Saturday? Is it the White House position that outdoor events carry the same risk as indoor events?
It's our position that the media should not be making decisions about their guidelines to us about social distancing based on political ideology or what they think is the worthiness of
Okay,
the cause.
what about the CDC?
Right, and there's not good logical reason for this, so that's the one thing I would keep.
There's
going
not
back.
good logical reason for this.
Yes, Owen.
Nor English.
So I have no information on that. Owen. Yes.
Blake, different mask.
Oh, sorry, Blake. They stepped you in.
No
Blake.
worries, no worries.
Good to see you, Blake.
You too. A couple on the economic front. Earlier this month in Maine, the
She
president
used the
talked
name and
about
got it wrong.
And he said the following. He said, if the European
She's
Union
new.
doesn't drop that tariff immediately, we're going to put a tariff on their cars, which will be equivalent. Can you give us an update on that? What
Choke
is
22.
immediately, what is the status of potential tariffs on?
I can't really hear
I
him.
haven't inquired about that today, but I will inquire about that, and I'll try to get back to you before 5 o'clock.
You'll let us know.
Secondly, an infrastructure bill.
I don't know. Usually OAN stands off to this guy's right.
Administration wants to see is that reauthorization.
They're almost always there.
At the end of the year, is that added on to a potential base for stimulus? What is the
I see a reflection there, but someone's walking
Yeah, I don't want
away.
to get ahead of the administration on our official plans for that. Infrastructure is something we've talked about for a long time, and it's something that we think that we could find common ground on, but it's up to Democrats to really come to us and make that happen. It's been mentioned as potentially a phase 4, but that's not in stone, but that has been mentioned. No formalized plans, though, on where infrastructure stands. We don't have a number on that right now. Yes.
On the Tulsa rally, can you give us a sense of which health experts the campaign or the White House consulted before deciding to hold it? Did anyone
Not sure who that is.
about whether it would be a good idea?
Look, we are taking every single safety precaution that we can, and again, I would note this is probably question number 10 on rallies, and while we appreciate the great concern for our rally goers, you should exhibit that same concern for the protesters who are out there who are not
Yeah, I've
socially
seen
distancing, in
article
many
after
cases not wearing
article
masks.
and interview
Chanel.
after interview on CNN and MSNBC and ABC about the protests.
The president has mentioned that he would be willing to mediate the conflict between China and India now. If he were to do so, what
Can't really hear, but something's going on in the binder. She's finding that page. This might be the litany of facts.
what mediation looks like for China and India?
So again, no formal plans on that beyond what I already said, and expressing our absolute condolences to the Indian soldiers that died as a result of today's confrontation. We extend our deepest condolences.
It's Binder
there.
Barbie.
And I would note just that during the phone call on June 2nd of this year that President Trump had with Prime Minister Modi, they did discuss the situation on the India-China border. As
Relationship between President Trump and President Xi,
Okay, now the audio's gone again. That's C-SPAN. Yeah, Chris, you've got a good point there. Okay, hold on. Let me just, okay. Lies.
I would just say
Oh,
what
here it
the
is.
president has said before, that he is really appalled at the fact that the coronavirus came out of China. They weren't allowing flights into China, but were allowing flights out. They slow walked information. The WHO
That's
seemed to
not
partner with
how it
China.
worked at all.
So that is an appalling.
That's not me, guys.
The president is very upset,
Sorry.
by that action
Ouch.
from China, or inaction in some cases, I should say. Thank you all very much.
Okay, well,
I
that's
hope
it
you have a
then.
great rest of the day.
No way.
And
Oh,
I
no
hope we start
OAN.
seeing more consistent headlines. Thanks very much.
We'll try and do more consistent. So that's the takeaway. Try and do more consistent headlines. And there's the reporters just all sort of looking down at themselves. Let's turn that audio off just in case. There's the guy in the background who's going to get fired because his audio got screwed up so badly today. Wow. Right at the very end, they decided, like, let's mess with things right as we're leaving. Okay. So there you go. So there should be a couple more live streams today. Trump's going to be on Hannity later, so we'll watch that together if you want to. And I don't see him in here, but we have a new producer. Rich Mack has upgraded to the producer level. So producer Rich will drop by at some point today, probably. So say thank you to him, stepping it up to be a producer and making a big input to the show, and I appreciate that. And, of course, JC, who I didn't notice in here today, but I apologize, JC, if you're here. And, of course, everybody watching at home who isn't chatting along or watching at work or watching while you drive if you work for Fox News. Whatever works for you. I appreciate everybody. If you'd like to support us, go to KevinLeeFather.com. Kevin Lee Daughter showed me a new way that you can support me and give me $5, and you'll get $5 too. And $1 off every coffee you buy. I know, it's too good to be true, but I'm researching it, and I think it's valid because it's already worked. I'm $16 richer already today. Ha ha! Take that, unemployment office. Still pending. Oh, yeah, so I don't even want to go into it. So Trump is having a meeting on the Prevent Task Force, which is the task force set up to try and prevent, it's all capitals, I don't know what it stands for, veteran suicide. As you probably know, 21, 22 veterans per day in this country commit suicide. It may be higher right now because of the massive unemployment. We don't know yet. So he's having a task force on the Prevent, not a task force, he's having a meeting on the Prevent Task Force. I don't know if we're going to see actual video of it or not. It's a possibility. If there is, I will carry it for you guys. Let me go to C-SPAN and look at their schedule here. Try and give you guys an update. That being said, this presser came out like 20 minutes before it happened. So, do I ever just do chats? Sometimes I do. The best time to catch me chatting is when I do like a Billy Joel update or, hey, help me pick a theme or something like that. So the White House press briefing took place already. And it's still on the schedule. President Trump at 2 p.m. Eastern, which is 11 a.m., which is about 10, 12 minutes from now, which means really 30, 40, 50 minutes from now. So when I see President Trump talking about prevents, I will open up again and we'll do this thing all over again. Maybe we could do some chats sometimes without videos. Or, you know what I'd like to do? I'd like to get to the point where I can fire this thing up and show you guys videos that I've seen throughout the day or news articles or whatever, because basically this is all I do. And I play tennis as well. DM me with the Lisa. Do I follow you? I don't know if I follow. If I don't follow you guys, you can reach me either through Patreon. I read all my Patreon comments. So that's KevinLeeFather.com to get to Patreon. And I think you have to be a donor of like $1 or whatever in order to be in the Patreon loop. I don't know for sure. I haven't tried it out. Or you can always write to yourkevinleefather@gmail.com. yourkevinleefather@gmail.com. I won't be giving that address out much more because I don't want to get spammed at it. But for you guys, right now, you know what? I changed that. Hold on. I want to get this in here because I didn't know specifically if CarQuest was good or bad, but I wanted to change it. I changed this midstream and never got a chance to upload it because of all the audio issues that I was trying to pay attention. There it is. Press Secretary, $20 billion to attend the Papa John's Virus Bowl. I know Papa John. You know, the sad thing is Papa John's has the garlic dipping sauce, which is 98% petroleum, but delicious. And I wish I could support Papa John's. Although, I might be able to because they've now fired Papa John for using the N-word on a conference call, this was last year, 2018, 2019, it was recently. Who uses the N-word on a conference call in 2000 and whatever? Okay. Oh, thank you, Carol. That's very nice to hear. I haven't showered today. I haven't had a haircut, and it seems like forever. Okay, so yeah, if you'd like to support, go to KevinLeeFather.com. There'll be some other things coming up, and we'll be doing the President Trump Prevent Task Force right here at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, but that really means, as you guys know, much later. And then we've got Hannity tonight, so I will probably record the Hannity show and then watch it afterwards because they tend to throw in a lot of commercials, so it's a lot easier to right after. It's like Fox is trying to make money. I should say Fox News. Fox News and Fox are two different things. And MyPillow has to have a lot of ad space in there. So we'll find. Racists use it all the time. What do racists use? Oh, the N-word. Yeah, no, I know. I could tell you a story of being down in the South, but I think you guys, all I have to say is, so I was in the South, and you guys can fill in the rest, and it's 100% accurate. Whatever you guys come up with, I will say, yeah, that's what happened. Easy to guess. It's like the question, where are you going with that fishing pole? Take a guess. So I was in the South. Okay, guys, I don't know if it's going to be in 9 minutes, Lisa, because this stuff rarely ever happens as it's supposed to happen. As we saw yesterday or the day before or 3 months ago, time doesn't exist anymore when they said there was going to be a press secretary conference, and then after 2 hours of the feed, there just wasn't anymore. And then this one where there wasn't a feed, and then suddenly, boom, there it was. So keep your eye out. You've done the right thing if you're following me on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button, and then you hit the little bell, and you'll get notified. Have your kid help you do that, because on your phone you have to go into your notification settings and set it to notify you on your phone, unless you're setting it. All right, I don't want to get into it. Oh, Stephanie, don't tell me that. Now you got to share. All right, so everybody who becomes a protester or above now gets brownies from Stephanie. That's the new rule. Stephanie, I'm going to let you take responsibility for that. Team player. Okay, guys, here's all the other protesters, resistors, and producers, new producers, Rich Mack and JC Bryant. Thank you, guys. We will see you soon.
You have a moment for a question?
What you want to talk about?